In this section we're going to try and explain electron configuration and how they're going to expect us to do it at A level. A lot of students find this a little bit confusing to start with. It will look different to how you did it at GCSE. Some of the words will be similar, some will be different or new. The ones that are the same as before, we have shells. So hopefully you would have come across shells at GCSE. So this is the first shell, the second shell, the third shell. So that remains the same. We'll be talking about those as energy levels. Probably new will be subshells, and we're going to talk about subshells being S, P, D or F, and also orbitals, perhaps a word that you're familiar with as well. So what did we know from GCSE? Well, if we had an element like chlorine, chlorine's atomic number is 17, which means it has 17 electrons. So at GCSE we'd have said there are 2 in the first shell, and then that's full, and then we move on to the second shell and we put 8 in there, and then there are 7 in the third shell, and that's how we'd have left the electron configuration for chlorine at GCSE. It's going to look a little bit different. We said the thing that's going to stay the same is the shell, so let's build up the structure of an atom with these shells still. So we'll just talk about there being 4 shells. So here I've drawn a nucleus, and let's draw our first shell in. So I've drawn that in yellow, so there's the first shell, and second shell, third shell, and a fourth shell. So the first shell contains just the S subshell, and the number of electrons it's able to hold, well, we can see there we've got 2 times n squared, n being the first shell, so n is 1, so 1 squared, which is 1 times 2, means that the first shell holds 2 electrons, but we knew that anyway. So back to our diagram. So this is the first shell, the yellow shell, and that consists of just the S subshell, and that will hold 2 electrons. Moving to the second shell. So the second shell consists of S as well as P subshells. So now the number of electrons it's able to hold, we've got 2 squared, which is 4, times 2, so the second shell will hold 8 electrons, as we knew already. So the second shell, the purple one, so this now consists of S and P and holds 8 electrons. Now to the third shell. So the third consists of S and P and now also D. And we've got 3 squared, which is 9 times 2, so the third shell holds 18 electrons. So in the third shell we have S, P and D, and this shell holds 18 electrons. And in the fourth shell we have S, P, D, and now also F subshells, and it's the fourth shell, so 4 squared, 16 times 2, so the fourth shell, the fourth energy level, will hold a total of 32 electrons. So we have S, P, DF 32 electrons